Welcome to another episode of Heated Conversations. We have the University of Arizona head coach, John Cord, on the podcast today to talk about his program, get to know him a little bit, and kind of talk about his 2024 season and what he has going on and what goals they have as a program. Remember to share, to like, to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any of the upcoming podcasts. And leave comments. Your comments are very important to me to really kind of know how to continue to direct some of these conversations. So thank you for tuning in. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the time. Before we kind of get into all the gymnastics and all the other topics we have, I have a question for you. And my intro question to you is, if you could have anybody cook you any meal, and that's anybody in the world, who would you have cook you that meal and what would you request of them to make you?
I think for myself, it would have to be Thanksgiving dinner at home with my mother's cooking. There's no way I could compare to that. And growing up, no matter where I lived as a young adult, or as an older adult, or certainly as a kid in the house, always looked forward to that spread on Thanksgiving, and I'll never be able to duplicate that. But it brings back fond memories.
And can you kind of talk about home? Where is home? Where are you originally from? And can even talk about your relationship with your family?
Sure. I'm originally from Rhode Island. Actually, I grew up in Warwick, Rhode Island, so I have an East Coast accent that drops in and out. I drop my R's, I guess, on certain words. So I'm from New England. Rhode Island is the biggest little state in the Union. You could drive through it in about 50 minutes, but half the state's a beach, which is awesome. And growing up, family relationships. I have a brother who's a little bit older than me, raised by both mom and dad were together, for their entire life, married for 50 years. They have both passed on, but I was blessed. I had a great family life, great upbringing. Was supported in everything that I did, no matter if I was let's say a good son or a son that needed to get better. I think everybody has been there, but just really fortunate to have two parents that cared and loved for me. A brother, I can say, did that most of the time.
Yeah.
But brothers fight. That is for sure. My brother's a police. He's a police officer now. He's actually a retired homicide detective, but he's a sergeant right now in the Connecticut police force. And great family life. No complaints. And that's what started me getting into coaching. My father was a high school industrial arts department head, but he also coached wrestling. My mother being the head coach at Brown University Gymnastics. So kind of went to a lot of practices and a lot of games and meets as a kid. And I guess that where it kind of settled in, and you catch the bug a little bit.
Yeah. And kind of being from the New England area, are you a New England Patriots fan?
Yes, of course. Even this year I am. I think that we had a great run for 20 years, and I deal with all the Patriots jokes. We cheat, we do this, we do that. The tuck rule when we played the Raiders. Everything. But Patriots, Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics.
Yeah,
I'm fans of everybody.
And kind of being in Arizona now, having similar colors to the Patriots, is that why you probably ultimately gravitated toward where you are, because it has that blue and the red and similar to that Patriots colors?
Well, I mean, I gravitated to Arizona for more professional reasons than the colors of the Patriots or the Sox. Certainly glad that I did. Arizona has certainly a lot of history in sports here with with the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks and things like that. But I wear my New England colors proud anywhere I go. But I certainly catch a little bit of lip for it. But I can back it up. I'm not too worried about it.
No, I love it. And you had mentioned how your mom was the head coach of Brown and how that kind of inspired you. Both parents inspired you with their coaching history that they had to get into coaching. Can you kind of talk about how it really started for you? Were you a gymnast yourself? And was it just kind of going to some of those practice with your mom that you kind of got that itch to coach and even coach at the college level?
Well, my parents never did force me to coach. I actually was going to move to New York City and be a trader. Trade stocks after college. I thought that was something that I wanted to do, and I started coaching. In the summers, doing camps and just coming into the gym at a very young age as a teenager, and it just became fun. It didn't feel like work. It was easy to make friends, with other coaches. There were plenty of people around to mentor and to help. And I said, well, this is, this is kind of fun. Um, so I basically, after I worked with my mother at Brown University for, I think a year and a half, I what I had to do is kind of like what recruits do. You send letters around the country and, um, hey, this is me. Here's my resume. If you're looking for a coach, a GA, a work study, I mean, anything. I would do anything to get in and just keep this going through grad school. Hopefully, have grad school paid for it, and that was kind of a little bit of the hook. And I had two choices, and it came out of two places, and one offered me a full ride for coaching to get my master's degree. The other place offered me no financial assistance, and they said you're going to get in. Um, Thought about it, and I went to the place that I wanted to go to, that I felt that I could just be the best version of myself and have fun and also coach and become a better coach. So I chose the University of Vermont, and I paid the full thing by myself. So I always say, so many times in the world, people make decisions, based on money and, so many other factors. And I always say, hey, you gotta do what is best for you. There's always a way. And I would do it 10 times over.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool and inspirational sometimes. People who really go for what they want, right? And even if you wanted to be a day trader, you eventually did what you want, you went where you want, and you worked hard for it. So I think really having that request probably for your athletes, you are coming from a genuine place where you had to do it yourself. Where I'm not saying other people aren't, but having to pay for school by yourself is tough, and especially now where school is not really as the price tag on school is not as low as it used to probably be, even at the time, probably when you were in school with some of these universities. And so I think, being able to talk to these athletes and say, hey, you can go where you want, be where you want, and do these things. It's easier to kind of talk from a place that you've kind of been. And can you kind of talk about some of your philosophies that you bestow upon your team, your staff at Arizona to kind of really create an identity that is known, for you guys being at the University of
Sure.
Arizona. Sorry.
Sure, absolutely. And I've been here for a while, and I've worked with a lot of great coaches, a lot of wonderful people, and just not in the sport of gymnastics, but just in the building, in McHale Center. And you take a lot of influence from a lot of different people and different ideas. You keep the good ones, the ones that might not work for you, you don't bring those in. And I think at the end of the day, I think this is my sixth season as head coach, and for my team and staff and support staff, I think the most important thing that I tell everybody is the day starts with you. And what I mean by that is that you have to know the things that make you happy. You have to know the things that you love. Everyone knows the things that they don't like and want to stay away from. That's pretty easy. And
Yeah.
it's also easy. It's also easy to talk about things that you don't like. But you have to sometimes do an inner look and say, okay, what makes me happy every day? What are the things I need in life? What are the things that are gonna fill my cup, and what's gonna make me fulfilled? And no one can tell you that. I can't tell you that. And that happens before you're anyone's, son, daughter, friend, coworker, et cetera, et cetera. You go on down the line. You have to know those things. No one can tell you those things, and it's not going to be the same between two people.
Yeah.
And that changes between, whether you're being recruited at 16 or 17 or 18, whether you're a sophomore at the age of 20, in the time that you graduate college at 22 till the time that you leave. You have to know those things.
Yeah.
You can't be dependent on someone else to tell you those things.
Yeah.
So I always say it certainly starts there. When you know who you are, obviously we want to recruit great people. We want great people, great young people in our program. That makes our lives a lot easier.
Right.
Certainly. Academically, we want people that want to thrive, that like going to class, that enjoy getting good grades,
Yeah.
that want meaningful major. It's important. I think the worst thing that you can do as an athlete in any sport is have to repeat your undergraduate education, because if you major in this, you might miss some practices, so on and so forth. I say for us, the gym's always open. We have the keys. So I want you to major in what you want to major in.
Right.
Major in what your dream is professionally.
Yeah.
Because in 4 years or 48 months or however you want to say it, when you come to college, that's all you have left in
Yeah.
the sport to flip around, unless you're going to do circ, which we've had some former gymnasts do, but it's it. You have to be ready for the world.
Yeah.
That's what we want to teach you. So having that academic piece is so crucial, because during that time, you might change your major once, you might change your major twice, but we have to get you on that right track to do that. We have to do, whether it's internships and summer work and alumni connections and things with our student athlete support services to get you ready to go. Then we have the athletic piece, the competitive piece,
Yeah.
and we have competitive expectations. Certainly all that comes out in the recruiting process, what we expect when you come here. So there are no, there are no surprises.
Right.
We have competitive evaluations for everybody that's in our program. We evaluate practice every single day, and everything is transparent. You want to know how you did in practice, just send us a text and we'll send you your grades. And we also meet every 4 weeks to go over everything.
Yeah.
We have depth charts in the gym. And really that 9825 is kind of the magic number. When we were building this thing up 5 years ago, we said, okay, well, we want to make sure our competitive numbers are on a 9825, which equals out to a mid 196. And I said, if we can have enough people that we're eight, we want to be at least 8+ deep on every event that can do this, and we can identify that in the recruiting process, but also coach some people up to get that, then we should be in every meet. 196.5, home away, you get within 5 teams of a point going into the fourth rotation, someone falls, maybe they don't, maybe you hit, and that can be a game changer. But when you look at the rankings historically, that can usually carry you into a postseason. It can make you solid in your conference and make you competitively nationally.
Right.
So that's what we want to try to do, and we identify that through the recruiting process. And obviously, you'd love to have, gymnastics has 12 full scholarships. You'd love it if every all-arounder could knock it out of the park, have 12 people go 39.7. That's usually not the case. So there are some, certainly you want to strive to do that, but there are also some advanced specialists that do a fantastic job. So it certainly takes a village here, with the team, and they are, they're committed 1,000% to each other and wanting Arizona Gymnastics to do better. But it's just not me. I have Kylie and Taylor with me as well. They both bring a different strength, as well as our trainer, our support staff. So everybody's involved, certainly in our program on a daily basis. So it's been exciting to watch the growth.
And can you talk about those coaches that you just mentioned? Can you kind of state their full name and what their roles are and what event they do, and then what other things they kind of bring, in regards to their personality to the program?
Sure. I'll start with Taylor. Taylor Spears she's from Dallas, Texas. She was an athlete at University of Oklahoma. She was a national champion at OU as a team, but she was also the NCAA beam champion. So when I was looking for someone to come on the staff five years ago, I said, okay, we want to make sure that if someone's going to coach the event, I said, let me look. And I looked at all the stats and I said, who has been in the top 5, top 10 on their event, and who is still coaching in college and coaching in college? And her name kept coming up. So we made contact, with each other, and we went through the interview process as well. And, certainly I felt that for where we needed to grow as a program, she was the best person that could help us do that.
Yeah.
So that was very, very important. And she's a great person. She's not only grown, she's grown personally, she's grown professionally. She definitely helps me with the day-to-day running of the team.
Yeah.
That is for sure. Super attention to details is amazing.
Yeah.
With Taylor, everything that she does is on time. Her coaching, on balance beam, it's been one of our more competitive events. Usually in the top 25, and having a really good beam team, especially when you're on the road, you're going to end on beam, that team's going to end on floor. It's something that I have 1,000% confident, in her as a person and her coaching ability and the relationships with the athletes, that she's going to get that done.
Exactly. No, it's good.
She's going to get that done. Kylie Cratchwell, she is from Jersey. She was a student athlete in New Hampshire. She was a bar specialist for them. Kylie was our volunteer a year ago. and was promoted to full-time assistant coach. So we're doing it with 3 coaches. A lot of teams are doing it with 4.
Yeah.
We really enjoy the vibe amongst the 3 of us. So I said, you want to know what? Beginning of the year, I said, let's go with 3. I think we can. I think we can do it with 3. A lot of my time in Arizona, there's only 3 coaches anyway. If we need to hire a 4th person, I guess we'll look at that at the end of the season. And Kylie brings a youthful enthusiasm that is amazing.
Yeah.
Her story. I mean, she had two ACLs in college, and she came back to play every single time. That perseverance. I mean, that is something that, no matter what an athlete is going through injury wise, they can always go to her. She always has a story to tell. She is her learning curve as certainly as a coach, eyes for detail, the enthusiasm, level of care she has for athletes that both my coaches have, for the athletes on the team is just, it's exactly where it needs to be. I think we all coach the person first, which is important.
Yeah.
Kylie coaches bars and does choreography. And I mentioned Taylor coaches beam, also helps Kylie with bars. So we can all go anywhere, certainly in the gym. And sometimes you have to do that, sometimes one of us is on the road and so on and so forth. But for her first year being full time and, kind of grabbing the mantle and coaching the event and having the debut last week on national TV and being up on the podium, this is what you signed on for.
Right.
Certainly, she is doing a great job, and both of them are equally important to the success of our program, both in the past and in the future.
Love it. It's always good to have like a staff that you really feel comfortable with, and to even have, sometimes I feel like, and maybe this is just my own thought process, but if you have a male on your staff, they usually take some of those events like bars. But I think it's cool to see it change up too, where it's, you have a male who's not on like bars, which seems to be that event that is mostly coached by males. And again, I'm not in every gym in college and stuff like that, but it seems like if there are females that are coaching bars, it's all female staff, and that's just how they, it obviously it's going to fall on a female. And can you kind of talk about, how you kind of make those decisions to say, hey, you know what, this is who I want to put on the staff, especially when you have different assistants over your time as being a head coach and placing them in their right place?
Sure. You have to really be, I have to trust my instincts. I certainly have to trust my instincts, and I'm someone that likes to get as much information, get as much knowledge as I can on certain things before I make a decision. So if it's a staffing person, where they went to school, things like that, I'm going to talk to their coaches. If they were on a different staff, I'm going to talk to their coworkers. Everything nowadays is online. I might pull up a meet that they coached in. How did they react to their teammates? How did they react to other coaches on the staff when there was a hit or when there was a miss? Because you learn. I would say sometimes you don't learn anything when some things go good. You got to have a little, it has to go the other way.
Yeah.
So I'll do any of that, to find the right person. And obviously, I've been a coach for a few years now, so I have a good good Rolodex of people in my cell phone and my contacts. So I can reach out and people reach out to me too if they feel like, hey, someone would benefit from being here, or I would benefit by having them. And but they might feel like, they might say, John, this person would be a really good fit for you and your program. I will obviously listen, certainly listen to that. But sometimes at the end, it comes down to a gut feeling. I think what you said about, with coaching responsibilities years and years ago, it was a typical that men would coach some events and women would coach other events. And I am so psyched right now that has been broken down.
Yeah.
That is done with. And the best person for the events coaches the events.
Yeah.
And it's like hiring someone for a job. The best person should get the job. The best person should coach the events. Obviously we talk about everything and we have our goals, but as a coach for that event, you're not going to grow if I'm micromanaging you. It's not going to happen. You have to have the autonomy
Right.
to do that. I'm here to assist, of course, and I'm going to see things. But it's really, when it comes to the events, Beam is very much Taylor's, and Bars is very much Kylie's.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because that's how they're going to grow in their profession, just not in Arizona, but just certainly everywhere.
Right.
Everybody can see that. And in Kylie's case, I said, if you want to be a complete coach, you have to spot it. It's a big difference. So she worked her butt off going to camps and things like that. All this summer, summers before that, she hand spots everything over there. Maloney's, Bales, dismounts, cast handstands, things like that, and hits the body positions really good. And she incorporated those into her workout.
Yeah.
So I have full trust in her and her abilities, and so does the team.
Yeah. And, from just even talking to you and even how you said you wanted to be a day trader, it seems like you really are analytical, but also you think about the numbers, where sometimes in life, we can go based off of strictly our emotions. And you also talked about having that gut feeling, but I think it also has your gut feeling probably comes from a lot of the calculated research and decisions that you make. And can you even talk about how you do that in how you structure specifically your team, or even just your lineup and stuff like that? And again, not to give your secrets out, but when you are trying to create that culture of all right, we want to be hitting at least a 9.825 so we can get to those mid 196 scores pretty consistently. How do you really break that down to your staff, to your athletes, so then they can really know that's the vision, and to really try to come out and execute really from a place of being excited, not from a place of feeling like, oh my goodness, these are pressure expectations that I may not be able to really do consistently?
Sure. From the scoring standpoint, we focus on, let's control the controllables. And what I mean by that, let's control, our handstands, our landings, certainly landing and lunging in the right direction, our start values. Those are the things that we can control. And the thing is, when we focus on those, we know that, okay, if we do enough of this, and our sport is subjective, whether we like that or not, if we do these things, and whoever is on the piece of equipment does all these things and comes off the floor and everyone's excited, and if we see a 9.9, boom, we accomplished all the goals. The person accomplished all those goals. If we see a 9.7, okay, should you feel bad? If you accomplished everything that you set out to do, you controlled all your controllables. But in the subjectivity of gymnastics, someone might have thought a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But they still started them out of a 10. They just didn't like something about it. But I say, well, let's not focus on the score piece. We have to focus on the things that we can do to get the score. Because we're going to see sometimes it's going to be, it might be really good judging. Sometimes it might be tight. You never know.
Yeah.
I don't know who's judging the meet until they walk out to my event person brings them out of the backstage area.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth. But when it comes to the lineups, everyone wants to play. You want everyone to play. You have to love gymnastics. You just can't like it when you come to college, because if you like it when it gets hard, you're not going to want to do it. You have to love it, because it's going to get hard. One thing I promise everyone, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very fulfilling, though. But it's not going to be easy, but you have to love it. You have to love everything about it.
Yeah.
No, and, for us, we have depth charts and things like that. So if you're an all-rounder, it's because you're one of the top 6 on that event. It's not that one of the top 2, and we want to have someone do 4 events to be an all-rounder. No, you have to be one of the top 6 on that event. And then we have a board with magnets. We change twice a week. So everyone knows where they stand all the time. I say screenshot it with your cell phones, do whatever you want. Because if you know that you're in there week after week, and for some reason you don't play, you have every right to come say, what happened here? How come I didn't get my plane ticket? And I could go, oops, I just messed up a name on the travel spotters. It could be something as simple as that.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're up here, well, you want to stay there. If you're climbing, you're not 7A, you're in an alternate, you're exhibitioning. Well, let's make sure you're making the most of those opportunities to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're not in that mix, well, what can we do to get in that mix? Maybe I need to learn a new skill. Maybe there's, something, I just need to be better at my craft.
Right. Right. And being so open with that type of transparency and showing them and stuff like that, do you get much kickback from them when they come back and say, hey, you know what, I feel like I should be in this spot? And how do you kind of deal with that if there's athletes that are able to access that information, and which I think they should be able to, but they're like, you know what, I think I'm better than Sally, or hey, I think my week was better than Sally, and I don't agree with what you guys put on the board. How do you guys deal with that, with those athletes or even a situation like you mentioned, if you have an accident, like, hey, I forgot to put your name on there, and they really take it, emotionally, like pretty hard, because they really felt like they did what you were requesting of them, or whatever the case may have been, to be able to get that spot. How do you kind of deal with those?
Sure, absolutely. Well, we have open doors, certainly, and we're available all the time to everybody that's on the team, whether it's a gym question, personal question, academic question. Doors always open, and conversations are always promoted, even conversations that can be difficult. Because those are going to be learning conversations. But also, when you have those difficult conversations, it also helps an individual with their coping mechanisms, which is something that I think coming out of high school, people aren't used to. What happens when you don't get your own way?
Yeah.
You're going to pick up your ball and go home, or you're going to figure out, how am I going to get better from it? And then that's a life thing.
Right.
I think that's what happens. You have two coaches as parents.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
A lot of times I'm not getting my way. That's for sure. What am I going to do about it? Find a way to get better. That's for sure. So we certainly have those conversations. One thing that we did this year, we did an inter-squad, and we said, okay, coaches are going to coach whoever you put in the lineup. Team sat down, they had a meeting, they made their lineups, they made their alternates with exhibition spots. Because at the end of the day, you would hope that everyone on the team wants the best people to play. And that's what that exercise was for. So if there was internal conflict about who should go and who shouldn't go, they had to deal with it. They had to resolve it on their own without the influence of coaches. And we just said, hey, whoever you put in front of us, we're going to coach. And it was pretty accurate to what we just did in our first competition. But they needed to have that ownership. I said, sitting in our chairs isn't always easy. You need to know how we feel.
Yeah.
You need to know the conversations that we have. So they were able to do that in this exercise. And it was like, we didn't question anything. It's like, okay, this is the order. We're going to coach who's in front of us.
Yeah.
So things like that do help. Things like that do help a little bit. But at the end of the day, you really hope that everybody wants to play and everyone wants to excel, certainly at that event. No matter what year in school you are, freshman, junior, senior, sophomore. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I say in college gymnastics, in March, nobody remembers January. It usually happens. It usually doesn't. The scores that you get in March and the things that happen, they're probably not on your NQS. Sometimes they are, but usually they're not. I just think that as long as they look at everything as a stage, a different stage for success, 15 weeks or 15 opportunities to be successful, instead of saying, oh my gosh, there's a meet, I didn't play. What am I going to do? My season's done. It's like, no, you just didn't play.
Yeah.
This week. There's always next week. And there's always the week after. And honestly, some people can't go as a coach. She can't do 12 out of 12 weeks on floor, but she could probably do 8 at a really, really high level. And we have those conversations. sometimes you might need to come out. Sometimes you might need a rest. We don't need any of the hero stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you want to go into all of your meets ready to go. That is for sure. And understand that you have a team that's behind you when you do play, but also if you don't play, you reciprocate that to the person that does.
Right.
And so that part is really, really important to team chemistry and to team success.
And what, from your own conversations with your athletes, or even in the recruiting process, what are some of the reasons why people choose to go there, both academically? What does Arizona offer academically that really is lucrative or attractive to student athletes, but also about the program? What really sets you guys apart for the ones who choose to go there, that they really say, hey, this is a place I feel like I can really continue my gymnastics career and do it to where I'm going to really enjoy it, even if it might be difficult, just because the nature of gymnastics and college gymnastics can just be tough.
College gymnasts are the best athletes on any college campus. Don't let anybody tell you different. There's no pickup in what they do. Can't go to the rec. Can't go to the rec and certainly play at the level that they do. University of Arizona as a whole, I mean, a lot of our students come from the states of Washington, California, Texas, Illinois, Wisconsin's, a little bit of the, certainly a little bit of the East Coast, and obviously the state of Arizona. One of the things that happened about 4 years ago, I'd say, that the institution really wanted to say, hey, what can we do to increase our academic ranking? We're very, very strong in sciences. That's been our bread and butter on campus: business, sciences, astronomy, teaching. What can we do? What can we do better as an institution to attract different students, out-of-state students? So they really raised the merit aid requirements. So they give out more merit aid. It's not need-based aid; it was merit aid to students. So those packages have helped tremendously when it comes to recruiting, because those packages are better than a lot of other institutions, their packages. So when you combine sometimes that with athletic aid, or you combine that with need-based aid to merit aid to athletic aid, it really lets us target different groups of prospective student athletes. I think academically, I think our reputation speaks for itself. I mean, my longevity here in the program, everyone's graduated. And everyone's graduated. Everyone's out there in the world making, I feel making a difference. And I can say that. I have lived that. I've lived that over 2 decades here. And I think to parents, that stability is important. Okay, on the academic side. On the athletic side, you say, okay, what have they done? What's he done? What's his program done? And we've done this every year. Every year we finish higher than the previous year, up to last season. We've gone from 38 to 21. We've had people at nationals. We've had people be All-Americans. We've had people be first team All Conference. Gymnast of the Week. Those things. We have received some athletic recognition. And right now I feel that we're pushing towards more recognition on a national stage for what we're doing. And Friday night was a perfect example of that. Live television, first night out. What we were able to do. A lot of people saw that. I had messages from Maine to Washington to Florida, and of course Rhode Island, of, hey, the team looked really, really good, better than the years prior.
Yeah.
And athletically, people know we're climbing, and of course, athletically now, we're shifting conferences next year too. So that was also part of the recruiting pitches to the classes of 24. Say, hey, you're coming in, and this is the inaugural Big 12 class. That's coming in. All the logos are going to change. Obviously, we're going to finish this year and celebrate it. I believe in living where your feet are.
Yeah.
To enjoy, and come July 1st, the fireworks go off, and we're switching into the Big 12. So that's going to be certainly a different animal,
yeah,
for sure, than Pac-12 or Pac-10. I said, your education doesn't change, your address doesn't change. Maybe the plane goes more east or west sometimes, but I said that's about it. But it's a new experience, and I think people love new experiences. When you can have the stability of the past and the excitement of a new experience, and then you get to be a part of that.
Right.
I think that is something that's attractive to all prospects.
Right. That's cool. And can you even talk about the area where you guys are at? Can you, for those who may not know what part of Arizona, the University of Arizona is, and then kind of what are things to do in that town and that city, and how does the city support the university and the university support the city?
Coming from the Northeast to the desert was, a little bit of a shock. Certainly, you have to drink a lot of water, but also you have to really enjoy being outside 300 days of some sunshine. We're surrounded by mountains. We have an airport that takes you just about anywhere. A lot of places direct, so that's good. But it's a Southwest feeling. The people are really nice. The town has a little over 1 million people in it. The university is the town within the city. I feel like there are no professional sports. There's no, hockey or basketball, things like that. We have AAA teams, but the university, the student athletes here, that's your sport. That is your team. There's a lot of pride, certainly in that, from the people of Tucson. They drive by U of A, they see the athletes, certainly all over the place, grocery store, restaurants. There's a little bit of a fishbowl effect. But I think it's a great place to grow up when 18 to 22. It's a very, very good education. Some majors are a great education, and a lot of people from here, they're transplants. Everyone's come from someplace else to live here, because the city's small enough, but it's still big enough, and it's certainly had a lot of growth. That's for sure. But it really depends what you're into.
Yeah.
Some people just love being outside. They love to just go outside, be outside every day. Our team loves going up to Mount Lemmon because it's 30 degrees cooler up there, so there's a lot of snow. They have snow up there, so they like to take their treks up there, and certainly take their pictures. They take a lot of pictures up there. That's for sure. But if that's their spot and they want to go and enjoy, people, like I said, if you're outdoorsy, you like to climb, you like to bike, you like to play sports, you like to golf. Military here is really big. We have the Air Force Base, so we have Military Appreciation Night. Love to do a collaboration with them every single year. But the campus is gorgeous. I put the look of our campus up against anybody's. The downtown Tucson scene has really grown, revitalized itself with a lot of projects. So there's always something to do, or there's nothing to do. If you don't want to do anything, you want to just binge on Netflix, hey, that's cool too. But there's always something to do. I think if you're a student, but there's always a lot of things to do. If you're an adult, you just have to find your niche, find your group, and you can have a lot of fun and a fulfilling experience for sure.
And for kind of the somewhat new topic in the world of sports, and is NIL, the name, image, and likeness. And can you kind of talk about what that looks like at the University of Arizona, and how gymnasts specifically can kind of tap into that if it's offered there?
It is offered. We have a program called the Arizona Edge. So what that does is all the businesses they put all their information in there. Athletes that aren't interested in doing it put their information in there. It's kind of a matchmaking system. Company needs this, athlete wants this. Hey, they put them in touch with one another, and that is really how it starts and how it works with the NIL. I think it's if you some people come in with things, from high school, or if they're a transfer, they come in with stuff. It's really the new news. It came out about 2 years ago. I am 1,000% for it. Honestly, I think there needs to be some guardrails and bumpers on it. When this thing got released, it was like they let it out. It was like letting horses run wild on the plains, and it went everywhere. And I think I am in full support of it. I do think there needs to be some guidelines. I have no idea if, certainly that is going to happen, but I am all for and support, the ladies on the team, with the things that they do, for NIL.
And kind of your vision for 2024, what does that look like? And how did you guys really start that off in your first competition? We talked a little bit about that off camera, that you guys started at the ESPN on podium at the Sprouts arena in Salt Lake City, Utah. Can you kind of talk about that and how that launched you into what you guys are trying to accomplish this season?
Sure. Well, it really launched from last year's regional meets. We said, okay, this is really good. We went 196, 975. We knew we returned a lot of people. We knew we were getting some really good quality gymnasts in. We want to pick up where we left off. We're just turning the page, flipping the script, a little bit of a rinse and repeat from last year. So it's not something that is totally new. Maybe it's a 2.0 version of last season, but a lot of the goals are the same. A lot of the players are still the same. A lot of the routines are still the same. So we just continue that. What we want to do is we want to be competitive nationally. We want to be ranked every single week. We want to put people in the position, to be a regular season All-American. I think that's great. If they can do that, get that recognition, certainly every single week, whether it's a conference award or, whatever is out there for them, certainly to achieve. We've never been in the Sweet 16. We want that.
Yeah.
We want to be a team that is in the Sweet 16. I always say you have to go through the Sweet 16. You got to go through 16 to get to 8. You can't just say, hey, we want to be in the top 8. Well, you got to go through 16 first. And then you get there on that night, you let it all hang out. And, we're a team that, we've been in play-ins the last few years. Last year, did I think we should have been in one? No, I don't. But at the same time, you have to go and you have to play. And at the objective, when you're in a play-in, doesn't matter if you win by 2 points or 40 points. It's just to get to the next night.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our attitude. That has been always our attitude with it. We got to do what we can do. It's winner. You either win or you go home. So there's no reason to complain about where you are. If you love the sport, you love the university, you love playing, let's go play.
Right.
And that's it. And then if we're the last team left standing, have a good dinner, everyone get a good night's sleep. Then we'll go do it again the next night. So those goals certainly are the same. But we know that if we do the things that we know that we can do, we should be in a really good position to accomplish some of those things at the end of the year. But man, parity in gymnastics is awesome.
Yeah.
This year, and teams between ranked 1 and 50, right anywhere. There are gymnasts on teams that can almost be on any team.
Yeah.
And play. That is great to see.
Right.
Because I'm a fan of the sport anyway, so I'm going to watch stuff. But I'm going to tune into a lot of things because there's no season like gymnastics season.
Right.
Because I love gymnastics season. Always have. I think it's something that the parity is at an all-time high. The level of skill of the gymnasts entering college, out of club, and what a lot of college coaches across the country are doing with their athletes. Just like here in Arizona, a lot of growth, and really, we're trying to push the envelope.
Yeah. Right.
We want to do that, and it's an exciting time. For us, we're just going to try to control those controllables, try to be the last team standing at the end of the night, and make sure we take away something every single week, every single day, and that's just not going to be a score.
Yeah,
it's just not a score. The memories that the people on the team make, those last a lifetime.
Yeah,
they last a lifetime, and because you're only going to be with this group of people for 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is, whatever year you are, and that means a lot. And sometimes that honestly it gets overlooked when everyone just focuses on the W. You can kind of miss a lot of things.
Right.
I think it's important to take it all in, to know what makes you happy, to love competing for your school.
Yeah.
Have your teammates back, have your coaches back, coaches have your back, and let's just go out and let's play.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast and kind of talking about the University of Arizona and all the things that you guys have going on this season, and even just your perspective. I think it's very insightful for the viewers and listeners, and hopefully, you guys are able to do that to reach those
I
goals
hope
that you
so.
guys have.
Well, thank you for having me on. Much appreciation.
Yeah.
Have a blessed day, and go Cats and bear down.